and welcome to For Heaven's Sake, a Seventh Heaven podcast. We are your co-hosts, Lady J.
And T.
How are you, T?
I'm in the mood. Yeah, let's keep that going. Play the live track one more time.
Yep. One last hurrah.
I mean, we talk about it. You got to listen to it. And how are you, Lady J?
I'm good.
Yeah?
This is a exceptionally bittersweet moment for me. I've been trying really hard to keep it together all day. And now that the mics are on and we've begun, I don't know where this is going to go.
I don't know. 2.5 years.
2.5 years of our lives. This has been quite the adventure.
Definitely has.
I honestly, what I want this episode to be more than anything is just, I want to peel back the curtain a little bit. I want to talk about the all of it, right? Our time over the last 2.5 years. Mind you, I say 2.5. I guess it is technically 2.5.
Right? Or is it more?
I think it's actually more because we started recording this show about a month and a half before we ever released it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
And so in that way, it's 2 years and 10 months ish.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Which, listen, it's been the most rewarding 2 years and 10 months of my life.
Yeah.
When I knew I wanted to do a podcast, but I had no clue what it was going to be about or why I would be doing a podcast or any of that. It was just this random thought that popped into my head. No one's doing a Seventh Heaven podcast. It's all available on Amazon Prime, so there's no barrier to entry for it. And when I started thinking about doing a Seventh Heaven podcast, I honestly, you were the first and only person I thought of. I don't know why, really, because it's not like you're a big fan of the show or anything.
I never watched it, clearly.
But I knew in my heart that you were the person I wanted to do this with.
Well, hopefully everybody else could agree.
Well, I don't even care because I'm just glad that you agreed. I mean, I threw it out there on a total whim. I don't even remember how I came to you with it.
I can't remember.
It was probably in a text because,
it probably was a text. Sorry, guys. There wasn't she didn't have a ring ready. There was no roses.
Yeah, it wasn't this momentous, amazing thing.
I don't know how it happened. I don't know how it went down.
It was very random.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you had said no, I probably wouldn't have done this because I don't know who else I could do this with.
I'm going to agree with you on this point, on this part. I don't know how you're going to have a podcast on Seventh Heaven without me because I don't know anybody else that was going to do it because it's Seventh Heaven.
Right.
Had it been a podcast about Game of Thrones, which there are thousands already.
Right.
Any of our friends would have jumped in for that. 100% because they're all fucking opinionated.
That's right.
But Seventh Heaven? Everyone be like, what? Why?
But that's why I think not only are you special, but our relationship and our friendship is special because you dove into the deep end with me on this. Neither of us knew anything about podcasting coming into this. Neither of us knew anything about the show.
I knew nothing.
Vagaries enough about the show, but I didn't know the show.
Yeah.
And we just dove in, and I'm sure there was it was a rocky start. The sound quality wasn't great in those very first episodes. Until we got our footing and then certainly promotion was never our strong suit, we're neither of us are super social media savvy people. But that being said, you took the ball and ran with it midway through and just owned our social media. You were all over it.
As much as I could because I didn't do Twitter.
Well, no, but I'm saying it's that's one thing that I don't bring to the table is being on Instagram and posting and making a thing about everything. And I feel like you did that with such aplomb, you know? Is that the right word?
I like it. I'll take it.
And you handled it. And it was just like, and I genuinely feel like, again, I mean, I've said this already, but it's like, you are the perfect partner for this show for me. Like I'm so incredibly just grateful and, like happy and glad that this happened to us over the last nearly 3 years of our lives, you know?
I mean, look, for me, it's something different. Because one, I never thought I would podcast anything. Because what do I have to say? Like literally, that's what I thought. What do I have to say? Who cares? Sure. And I listen to podcasts all the time. But I will say this. The first reason on why I committed was when you asked me, I was about to say no only because like, I don't know how I feel about it. But then I said, how about you don't say no and see what happens? And a lot of things happened. You learn to commit. You try to make your schedule work. You care about all the time that you're going to spend on this thing, let alone if you're going to give attention to something else. So it's in a weird way of discipline. I mean, another great way to bond with a friend.
Yeah.
And it's like, why not? And everyone would ask me, how are you still doing this? Only because it is Seventh Heaven.
Yeah.
Because no one really likes Seventh Heaven. I know the people that are listening, thank you that you're listening. But most people, well, a lot of our friends were never a fan.
Right.
So it's those friends that ask us, like, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm having fun.
Yeah.
This is playtime. So I'm going to let that lead me to whatever it is. I hear people now when someone tells me that they're going to go into podcasting, my ear actually like, I'm like, oh, okay, how are you going to do it? Like now I want to know everybody else's stories. Granted, I'm taking all the stories from you because you're the muscle and you are, and you do it with flying colors, but still like this is an experience for me that I don't think anything could erase it. I don't know. I learned a lot about myself in these 3, I'm going to say 3 years. Fuck, 2.5, 2 hours, 2 years, 10 months. I'm going to say 3 years. I learned a lot about myself.
Yeah.
In these 3 years. So yeah, the fact that I can actually measure it, that's interesting. I don't know. It was fun and fucking Seventh Heaven. My God. But I had so much fun with you, and
me too.
Because
it's truly like you, I mean, you said it perfectly. This is playtime.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it's always been. I mean, certainly there have been, weeks or days or whatever where life gets crazy and it's like, oh, and I got to do this thing. And but again, like we always made the time for it. We never faltered on it. We even doubled up on it. Like after our first season, we were like, fuck it, we're going to go hard. We're going to go 2 a week. Like we're going to do it because, like you said, we made a commitment to each other, and it was a real exercise in sticking with something and seeing it through.
Yeah.
And
I would have been heartbroken if we
just let it fall off midway through.
Because look, you have no control over life and what may happen. Like, anything could have happened in these 3 years that somehow could have set us back from continuing. But nothing did, thankfully.
Right.
But again, like, we still stuck to it. We didn't have to.
Yeah.
And we still stuck, like, this was fun.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't you stick to something that's fun?
Right.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Like, I know that we had days that we were like, oh, I'm not feeling this episode. Like, and we weren't.
Oh, and we said that on mic.
Yeah, we said that on mic because some of them were really bad. Sorry. Not really. You listen.
Listen, we'll get into all that later on.
But again, like, I don't know. I learned a lot about myself, and this was a fun experience, an amazing experience. I don't know. So I'm glad I explored that with you.
Yeah, me too.
I'm lucky that I explored that with you.
Yeah. Oh.
Because I learned a lot from you and watching how you do things and how you schedule your time on how to make sure things got done.
Which, mind you, I only got really good at in this last 6 months. Like, just in the last 6 months, I've become like hyper organized with my calendar and my days and everything, because I've been juggling 2 podcasts and it's a whole thing and whatever. But like, I don't know. And that's the other thing that I wanted to say too, is like, you called me the muscle, which I take as a compliment, and I appreciate that you say that. But I also just think like a lot of this stuff comes from this place, from like, it comes from me, from this place of like, well, it's got to get done, and I know what it takes to get it done.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in the interest of peeling back the curtain, very early on, you and I realized, or more so me, I think realized, like, there's not going to be enough hours in the day to like edit this podcast. If I want to like edit it down or whatever, like if I'm trying to remove all the awkward silences and all the pauses and and whatever,
well, if
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, if only you got paid.
Yeah. So that was important too, and I think it informed the way that we record the podcast, because every thing that we say and do on this show is driven from the place of, I don't want to have to edit it later. Yeah. So it's a very well-oiled machine, which in and of itself is also like, I think, commendable. Like, everything that you guys hear on the show is in real time. Like, if we said it in that order. You know, the clips are playing as I play them. Like, they're not dropped in later, all that stuff. Like, it's all real time pretty much, which takes a considerable amount of preparation, I would say. But it also allows us, when the mics are on and we start the episode, to just let it flow and be whatever it's going to be, and to not worry so hard about what that's gonna look like or sound like, rather.
I mean, Lady J, who knows, one day you might be like receiving an award and be like, that one time I did a podcast with my friend in my place. Yeah, I
think it's more like gonna be you're receiving an award.
For what?
Oh, okay, let's see. A Michelin star.
No, stop it.
James Beard. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be the shit though, wouldn't it? No, I don't know about that. But I'm just saying, like, whatever, man. Whatever this leads to for you in this podcasting world, which I think you're probably going to soak your feet in more than maybe your whole body. Like, I think you got up to like your knees
with just this one.
Yeah. And everything else is just going to add to it. But it's awesome because you can say, I know where I started from, and you can truly see like the change in your progression when it comes to how you're getting things done. Well,
but I mean, you give that to me, but I say that for you too. Like, listen, we toyed with the idea of continuing this on, right? Doing Secret Life of the American Teenager, because it was the next Brenda Hampton show, and like, keep the good times rolling, whatever. But the truth is that both of us are ready to move on to other things. Yeah. And so for all the listeners out there, I'm looking at you, Cheryl. It's not going to happen. Like, it just isn't. We know we're not going to do it. And that's not to say that it'll never happen.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that Lady J and T won't get on the mic ever again.
From now, who knows? Okay.
Yeah. Who knows what we'll be talking about? Anything's possible.
That's right. But for now, this is the end of this partnership. And but which I bring up only to say, like, you know, be it on podcasting or whatever your next endeavor is, I think you can also say, like, you got soaked up to your knees here, you know what I mean? And then whatever you do after this, for you, be it in a podcast format or whatever, wherever life takes you, like, you know, this is quote unquote where it all started.
Yeah. You don't think I would come back to you for questions about, like, hey, how did you do this? Wait. Oh, you mean I need a computer again?
Right. And it's also like, you know, this podcast has defined our 30s. Yeah. Like, we started this thing when we turned 30, and it's only been a couple of years or whatever, but oh no, wait, am I wrong about that? We were 29.
Well, going into our 30s.
We were going into our 30s. But point being, like, this is like a significant time in our lives anyway. And to have been doing this along with that.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's really special and like important, you know, and significant in this way that like for if to no one else but us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't care what anybody thinks.
Right.
It's my story. These are my feelings.
That's right. So okay, so this is our series finale, recap, whatever you want to call it.
It's just going to be a nice blend of everything.
Right. But because we did just finish season 11,
Let's get into it.
we figure we owe it to you guys to at least do a quick recap, just the highlights
Oh, yes.
of season 11 itself. So this obviously we know this is the season that shouldn't have been but was.
Yep.
For that reason, it's obviously all over the place and a hot mess. We start with Lucy's miscarriage. Ruthie's like in Scotland for the first like 10 episodes of the season or something.
We basically
like,
don't see Ruthie.
her. I read something online that said she was only in 7 of the 22 episodes of the season.
No.
Doesn't that seem low?
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't sound right.
I feel like we've seen her in more episodes
I
than
feel
that.
like she was in at least 15 or something.
Right?
Maybe she wasn't in 7 and then she was in 15. So maybe I misread the article or something. I don't know.
Interesting.
But Lucy had a miscarriage. Ruthie's in Scotland. We meet the replacements, which essentially like take over the season.
Yeah.
They get so many of the storylines. Sandy and Martin. Sandy's dating. Martin's not happy.
That did not need to happen.
They almost got married until they decided that was crazy. Okay. Sandy started dating. Martin wasn't happy.
Yeah.
Eric's dying, apparently, until he's not. Spoiler alert.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. Yep.
We see Grandma Jenny one last time in
Oh, yeah.
the promenade heaven, I guess.
Worst kind of heaven. Sorry.
Ruthie's ready to have sex with T-Bone, but she'll settle for a tattoo. Well, I mean, anyway, she thinks she's ready to have sex with T-Bone, so she'll settle for a tattoo.
She has her priorities straight. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, then she goes crazy about her diamond being missing from her promise ring.
Seriously. Poor guy.
And then Sandy ends up getting engaged to Dr. Guy.
I'm going to just say Jonathan, Dr. Jonathan.
I know. I don't know why I refuse to learn his name. It's Jonathan.
I just know his name is Jonathan, but Dr. Jonathan sounds awkward.
Do we know his last name?
Beats me. Other than, hey, Nick Zano.
Hey, Nick Zano.
It just makes me want to say, like, Nick Zano. Like,
Yeah, his name is funny. Is he
sounds
Italian?
I don't know. He sounds like a character. Like, almost like on again. And here is Nick Zano. Sorry.
He sounds like a made-up name for like a TV host or something, you know?
It has to be, right?
T-Bone meets his dad, who he has a hard time believing is his dad, but ultimately agrees that he wants to have a relationship with.
Yeah.
What else happens? Lucy and Kevin vacillate on whether or not they're going to move away to Crossroads.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a sheriff and she's going to lead her own congregation in Crossroads.
And they're going to have a bebe.
She's prego. Whoop, whoop.
A bebe.
I wish we'd know, like, what it was. Is it twins again?
Oh.
Like, that could be fun, like, if we knew that.
That
or
would've been
whatever.
fun.
But I ultimately just don't think it really matters, you know?
True.
Like, it doesn't matter what it is, just that they're having another one, and it's
Yeah.
exciting for them. And then they all decide to get on an RV and leave.
Yeah. Eric and Annie decide to pack up the kids because they are out of school. Well, not out of school, but basically
They're
homeschooled.
homeschooled.
So it doesn't matter. They can go anywhere.
Yep.
I mean, Margaret, what? She ends up.
Oh, yeah.
She ends
Margaret
up going
ends
to
up
school.
with Mac,
She's
and they're
with Mac.
happy in love.
Yeah. And she gets a scholarship.
Yeah, it sounds like she got a scholarship to go to school,
Jane.
which Eric helped her get.
Yes.
Eric also helped Jane
Yeah.
resolve her relationship with her mom, because it sounds like he essentially got her mom's boyfriend kicked back into jail for breaking parole. 'Cause
Yeah.
he was addicted to prescription drugs or something.
Oh, apparently. That's how it rolls.
That's how he rolls. And of course then he gets cured, his heart shrinks again,
Yeah.
so he's fine.
He's, Gertrude was hard at work.
That's right.
So was Stanley. Who else?
And then, of course, the one thing that, listen, if you take the season as a whole, like we just did, right? It's not great, but
No.
it's like, who cares? The one thing that is stuck in my craw that I'm never going to get over is that they fucking messed with us with Ruthie and Martin.
Yes. I was waiting. I was looking into your eyes. I'm like, I hope she's saying what I hope she's saying. Sure enough, yep.
Fucking Ruthie and Martin.
It was so
Like,
mean.
all the will they or won't they over the last 3 years, 3 seasons, like pulling us along, like with a carrot on a stick,
Yeah.
thinking it could happen, wondering if it will. Martin finally confesses his love for her, and she says, "Nope, I'm in love with T-Bone. Peace out, Martin Brewer."
And the thing,
And all the kisses happened off screen, which I will
Yeah.
never forgive Brenda Hampton for.
no, I hear you. No, because, you know, I would have been fine if she picked T-Bone had I seen what happened between her
Yep.
and Martin.
Yep.
But I didn't.
Totally.
And so it's cheap and it's mean.
It's just this like question mark hanging in the air for the rest of time.
mean. When they would hug, I thought I saw chemistry.
Yes.
Okay, let alone if these two were flirty on screen.
Oof.
Just give me the flirt. You didn't have to give me.
No, I wanted to see the kiss.
I know,
I needed
I
to
know.
see them making out.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you, but like, give me some flirt. Not like, oh, she's hanging out with Martin and he's taking her to school. I'm like, why the fuck would he drive down from school to drop off this poor kid back in high school? Why?
That's
No
true.
one would.
It's true.
And he has a kid on top of it, and he got a scholarship for baseball, and he has practice, and he has to go play games. Get the fuck out of here.
You're really not wrong.
I don't care how much the guy likes you. No, you won't do it. Because he can't. He
Yeah.
really can't.
Yeah.
So it's just bullshit. Like, I wish I had that. I wish I saw Ruthie and Martin and just like, I'm sorry, Jane the Virgin. Yeah, that's happening. You're love triangle. You have showed me her with Michael, her with Raphael. Perfect. Now I can decide if I like either or.
Right. Yeah. Let the audience have a say
Yeah.
in it.
Give me
kind
that.
of, you know.
Give me that.
Yeah, it's true. It was a real demerit
Yeah.
on the show. One of millions, probably. That at the end of the day, we never really got to get some real closure, like satisfying closure
Yeah.
for Ruthie and Martin. I will never forgive BH for that, ever.
It was so mean. So mean. God.
Really just the worst.
The worst.
Girl, you know me at this point. You know where exactly I'm going.
I mean, we got to get good at this.
After 3 years, you think. So because this is sort of it's the season or the series ending as well as just the season ending, a lot of the Amazon reviews for this season are sort of all encompassing. You know, they're not just about the season. It's more like, I love this show, or I hate this show, or what the fuck happened with this season on this show.
We're with you.
There's a lot of standouts, so I want to read a few. So this is a 1 out of 5 star review.
My favorite kind.
Who gets it? We loved every minute of 10 seasons of this goofy, over-the-top, sugary sweet show, and the finale of season 10 was clearly meant to be the series finale. Most of the series regulars had departed, and the group of new orphans were tacked on in season 11, just because otherwise there would be no plot whatsoever. Notably, all the early characters, Jessica Biel, Barry Watson, etc., who had moved on at various times throughout the series, all returned for a heartwarming cameo in season 10 finale, yet were barely mentioned in season 11. Granted, one of the reasons we loved the show was that so many of the plot lines were pretty ridiculous, but season 11 went so far past the mark that it barely even made sense. We pushed through and watched the whole thing because, hey, you don't slog through an entire series just to give up halfway through the last season.
You should have.
Well, I mean, we sure did. Yeah. But if we ever sit down and watch again, we're just going to pretend that they didn't really make season 11 and skip it. We read a few articles online that season 10 really was intended to be the last season, and it's very clear that the final episode that year was meant to be the series finale. I don't know how they talked Stephen Collins, Catherine Hicks, and Beverly Mitchell into coming back for this pointless farce, but most importantly, I don't know why.
That's the best.
Great review.
Why.
From Jay Poplinski.
Okay. Yeah, that's a.
It was great.
Why?
But then, just as much as you have the people like Jay Poplinski, who clearly are on the right side of history and
Yeah.
don't understand the show whatsoever.
Oh, no.
You have people that are just like into this show regardless, right? So this is a 3 out of 5 star review.
How long ago?
From February 2014. So not that long ago.
Okay. All
well
right.
after the show had ended.
Okay.
From Cat Rain. Enjoyed season 11 in the way you enjoy a visit with a friend you have been out of touch with for many years. The common elements in the history provide a comfort, but it quickly becomes clear that changes create a different and new relationship. Not negative, but the same level of commitment is felt. The end of season 10 with the drama around Simon's wedding and the ultimate reunion of the entire cast was a nice ending. Obvious it was intended to bring closure to a good long run. Maybe this is why season 11 seemed contrived, and the cast, many new additions, did not possess the same rhythm that made the Camdens seem like a real family. The final episode seemed hurried and lacking. As a result, I won't be missing the Camdens.
Yeah. You think?
But that's a 3 out of 5 review.
Yeah.
That should have been like a 2 out of 5 at most.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think the 3 is just like, I'll give it to them.
Yeah.
I held on for 10.
So getting into the 5-star reviews.
Why?
Well, you'll find out. So there's one from Sarah, 5 out of 5, from March 18 of 2015. Seventh Heaven is classic. It's a breath of fresh air and a light to all troubles we all face in this world. I would recommend that every family should educate their teens on choices by watching Seventh Heaven. It teaches all about relationships and consequences. I also think Seventh Heaven would be enjoyed by adults alike.
Okay. You're never invited. So what? Yeah, I said it.
Sort of in the same vein, we have another 5 out of 5 star review from Tapia Perez. Tapia Perez, I don't know. I don't care what anybody has to say. This is one of a few good TV shows. I was sad to see it end. It has many beautiful episodes that I feel would be great reflection videos to show to teenagers. How many shows nowadays can you say that for? Definitely not for Teen Wolf, Walking Dead, Pretty Little Liars, or any of the new shows. I love it.
I mean, she must be watching those other shows too, right?
I mean, she knows they're not good.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Okay, now here's one that I especially want to read to you because I just want to read it and then I want to hear. I want to know what you're thinking as I'm reading it.
Oh no.
Okay, 5 out of 5 from Rambling Rosie. I really enjoyed this season, but it was not as good as previous ones. I felt they left some questions unanswered and never brought the older children back to help tie up loose ends. And in the final episode, how in the world were all those people going to fit in the RV? But all those minor faults are just mostly my Pollyanna desire for happy endings and everything explained. That's not real life. Things just don't get tied up with a ribbon and everyone rides into the sunset to a happily ever after. All in all, things were left just the way life is, with unanswered questions and hopes and dreams and varied possibilities. A delightful family story dealing with real life problems and solutions.
I don't know about real life problems and solutions, but
it definitely got tied up in a neat little ribbon, though.
Yeah, it did. 100%.
I don't know what she's thinking that it didn't. It definitely did.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Wait, she didn't...
I don't know. I enjoyed watching every season and every episode. I really got addicted to it. Couldn't wait to get from work to watch.
What?
Get home from work to watch. I was disappointed in the last episode. I wanted more. Did not expect it to end like that. I keep going back to see if I missed something. Thanks for the good old-fashioned clean stuff. That's from Lady Bo. Okay, and then here's one that... This is just so far out of left field. 5 out of 5 from Neil W. Eric and Lucy in the Game. May 25th, 2014. Eric and Lucy are cute little hoppers, and Happy the dog will be at the RNC for 2016, picking up a lot of blue votes for selling that WMD.
Huh?
What? understand this. It's crazy.
Are we sure someone wasn't just no?
I don't know, man. We love this show. It had normal family problems when we had normal families. There were no vampires or bloody killings. It even had the word God mentioned in it.
Oh no.
And finally, excellent. Great job to all of the Seventh Heaven crew. Your work is a blessing to this country in depicting a minister and his family in the realities of modern life. Thank you. Bravo.
I just threw up in my mouth.
But see, this is the thing though. As I was reading the reviews for the show, that was the common theme, was like people loving it because it was a certain kind of show that had been lacking in the TV landscape or whatever, you know?
Look, I know I'm like making fun or whatever, but it's ridiculous only because it is Seventh Heaven.
Right.
But there is, I guess I can say maybe I can love this show only because of this experience of what I had with you. There is no way or no chance in hell that I would have watched this show, because I already would have by now, right? There's no chance in hell that I would have watched it then when it was on and thought that this was great television. I just can't imagine.
Because there's nothing to grab you. Like, the more I watch the show, the more I watch it. As we've watched it, right, over the last 3 years, like, I especially in the beginning, I kept trying to put myself in my 10-year-old shoes of watching the show. And maybe as a 10-year-old, you know, there's characters to relate to, like you're on the same level as Lucy and Simon and stuff, and they're going through like teen drama, whatever. Mm-hmm. But as the show got later on in the seasons and everybody got older and half the cast left and everything, like, who is this show for?
Do you know, I don't know.
Is it for 20-year-olds? Fuck no.
Like, they're saying for family. I'm like, but what entire family is sitting down and watching?
No 20-year-olds. Like so if you keep pace with Lucy, right? So say you're 13 when the show starts, 10 years later you're in your 20s like Lucy is. No person in their early 20s, just fresh out of college, world is your oyster, is sitting down on Monday nights at 8:00 with their parents watching Seventh Heaven.
Like, when it comes to family drama or family television, I feel like now maybe I haven't been watching TV all that much, like, as of late, but I will say,
of course not, you've been too busy watching this show.
Yeah, right. But let's talk about like the This Is Us and the parenthood of the shows, right? The reason why we gravitate to that shit so easily, one, there's sincerity.
Yes.
That's all it is.
It's not contrived.
Exactly. And this is the only reason why I know when I was younger to have watched this show, I know I couldn't do it because it wasn't believable to me, and it's why I never did it.
Interesting.
It's weird for me to even say that, but so I know that's
as a 10-year-old, it wasn't believable to you even then.
No,
I get that.
It's weird. Like, I just, I was more of a sitcom person. I'll admit that much.
That's the difference, I think. I think when we were kids, we were more gravitated to like the 30-minute comedy scene. Yeah. With few exceptions, obviously. Like, I was into Gilmore Girls at that age because Gilmore Girls was a contemporary of the show, essentially. They started at the same time, ended around the same time. Well, maybe they started slightly later and ended around the same time or whatever. Like, I was majorly into Gilmore Girls.
I loved Gilmore Girls,
and it's the same kind of a show, right? Like in the fabric of it, right? It's like sleepy town, slice of life. You know, there's no action or drama or whatever.
But I felt like you're right. There wasn't drama, not relatable. In the sense of like, because you've never lived that life.
Sure. I've never been in Connecticut in a small town.
Yeah. Or live in that life of that you even live in a small town.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Everybody knows your name and your history and all that crap.
But the thing is, there is sincerity between the mother and daughter dynamic.
True.
That I believe, that conflict I believe between when it's Lorelai and her mother or Lorelai and Rory. Like, I believed it.
True.
Because like
there is something more compelling to that
Yeah.
than random, like, my best friend got pregnant because she had sex premaritally or whatever.
And that show is quirky in the best sense. Like
You're saying all the right things.
it's quirky and it's lovable. But with Seventh Heaven, you're selling this to me as a family show or a family drama. I'm not exactly sure really what it falls under.
I think it was sold as a family drama.
Okay.
Because back then anything that was more than 30 minutes was considered a drama or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if it was funny.
Then it's too soft. It's the best way to put it. It's too soft.
Yeah, no, and I think you nailed it. Like, I think, first of all, maybe it's a little, I don't want to advocate for Seventh Heaven because who cares? But
Yeah.
like, I also just want to advocate for like the landscape of television or whatever as it's changed over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Because when Seventh Heaven was happening, television was a different animal. It was a different beast. Like, people watched it differently. People expected different things from it
Yeah.
than we do now. Now, television is all about like veritas. It's all about like,
Yeah.
is it real? Am I attracted to the story? Can I relate to it? Is it
Yeah.
gonna get me in the gut? Am I gonna cry? Like,
Yeah.
is it gonna make me reflect on the worst aspects of myself and make me confront them? That's what we want from television now.
True.
I don't know that we really wanted or knew we could get that from television.
True.
Just 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
I feel like maybe
Let alone 20 years ago when the show started.
maybe Seventh Heaven was the actual death of like what a family drama should be.
Maybe.
Like maybe it was like that was the last straw, and then
television just started to get better.
well, at least when it comes to family drama stuff.
Sure. I mean, is there even a family drama? I mean, you named them: Parenthood, This Is Us. I feel like
Well,
those are the only
ABC
ones.
Brothers and Sisters.
Okay, was that contemporary of this? When was that show happening?
Honestly, I can't remember. I don't remember if it was at the end of high school or like a couple of years already into college.
Okay.
Like I can't remember.
Okay.
But I know people loving Brothers and Sisters.
Which is the same creator, I believe, as Parenthood, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
I believe so. Don't quote me on that.
I just know that a lot of people did love that Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was Sally Field, right?
Yeah.
And Callista Flockhart. Am I confusing that? I don't think she was on that.
I feel like I'm mixing things
No,
up too
I don't.
now.
I don't think that was her. I don't know. Maybe it was. Who cares?
Oh, Callista Flockhart.
This
Ally
is not the
McBeal.
brothers and sisters show.
Yeah. But I don't know. When it comes to family drama, like, again, when things get wrapped up in a pretty bow,
Yeah, it's just it's not what we want out of television.
yeah, I can't fall for it. Like, when it's too cheesy. Mm-hmm. And trust me, I like Disney. That shit is cheesy. It's cheesy, but they are really great at marketing, at like getting at my heartstrings, because somehow, whether they hit it with a beautiful note in their music or they deliver that one line,
Or when the parents inevitably die.
yeah, they know how to get it. They just know. They just know how to get me to feel or to take me where they need to take me. But with Seventh Heaven, like, things were funny at times. Some stories weren't bad. Not to say that every story was bad, because that's wrong. I can't say that every single.
Certainly, there were good
Yeah.
episodes.
But as a whole, no, this isn't one of my favorites. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a favorite.
Yeah.
But it was fun to explore. But again,
Yeah.
no, definitely not a favorite.
So the other thing that struck me as I was doing like a Google search of just Seventh Heaven in preparation for this.
Seventh Heaven.
So are you aware of Common Sense Media?
No.
Do you know what that is?
No.
So I bet if you saw the symbol, you'd know what it is.
Probably.
So you see it a lot like on like ratings and review sites. Like I'm pretty sure it's on Rotten Tomatoes even. Like you'll
Okay.
get the tomato rating or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's a Common Sense Media. It's
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
like a green check mark or something.
Yes. Okay.
So for the first time in my life, I actually went to their website.
Oh.
And it's fucking bonkers because what they do on that website, which this is the only show I've been to on this website, so it's my only evidence, but I'm assuming this is their model, that they get reviews from adults and children.
Okay.
Like children can leave reviews as well. And when you leave a rating or leave a review rather, you include the age range that you believe the show is for or the content is for.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So I was really like taken aback. So there was one review from a 12-year-old kid who said that this show is for the 18 plus crowd and said, this show is not for kids. There is a lot of sex and it is not good for little kids to watch. There is also some drinking and smoking. Seriously, don't let kids watch this.
Whoa.
Yeah. This is coming from a 12-year-old.
Okay.
Back in 2012 even, which is not even that long ago.
It's not that long
Yeah.
ago. Yeah.
A 12-year-old in 2012 is far cry from a 12-year-old in 1997. You know what
True.
I mean? So, and then there was a 16-year-old, though, who didn't put an age rating on it, but said, like, totally the best show ever. I love the show. It's a great drama comedy show for families to watch together. It's about how life is with 7 kids growing up and the things the kids and parents go through. It has funny moments, sad moments, suspicious moments, and everything in between. The Camden family consists of the parents and their 7 kids. The show is now in its 9th season, and reruns from 3 to 9 are currently airing on ABC Family. I really think that Seventh Heaven is a great family show. That's coming from a 16-year-old in 2008.
Okay. I'm sure your world looks different now.
Yeah. So that disparity was shocking to me, that a 12-year-old in 2012 who's grown up in the internet age, in the beginning of, you know, maybe not the beginning of TV Renaissance, but certainly in 2012, we were definitely in the renaissance of television, you know?
Yeah.
Is looking at Seventh Heaven and going, this ain't for me.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Right? And then a 16-year-old in 2008 is like, I'm here for it.
Yeah. I don't know. What?
That was, yeah, that made me really like
Maybe I was just...
question it. Like, I was like, wait, are we wrong?
Yeah, no, because it makes you wonder, are we wrong or are we just like harsh critics? But I almost say bullshit on that.
Right.
Because like I fall trope to like, you know, telenovelas, Jane the Virgin. Mm-hmm. Do you get what I'm saying? Like once upon a time, I loved Arrow. I haven't watched an episode of theirs in a while now. Once upon a time, it was fun. Is it one of the best, like, you know, superhero like shows? Maybe, maybe not. I have no fucking clue.
Yeah.
There's so many of them out there.
But see, I want to go back to that Jane the Virgin comment, though, because the thing I love about Jane the Virgin is, yes, ostensibly, it's a telenovela.
Yeah.
So you're either into that or you're not. But what I think sets it apart and I think makes it palatable for masses at large and just a good show, period, is because it's self-aware.
Yeah.
Like you said. It's in the writing of the show.
Yeah.
The show knows that it's a telenovela. It
Yes.
purposely plays into those tropes.
Yeah.
And it pokes fun at them. And it also sort of puts them on its side a little bit because it's so self-aware.
Yeah.
It knows how to like tweak them and, you know, whatever. And I think in that way, that's what makes it a good show. If Seventh Heaven was a show that was almost like tongue-in-cheek, farcical about like a minister and his wife and 7 kids and trying to be good and not have sex before marriage and blah 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 blah, maybe there would be something to that would be like intriguing or interesting.
But even Jane the Virgin, man, they did a great job on Jane doesn't want to have sex before marriage,
right?
And religion is there in the house.
But it's a 2019 religion or a 2015 religion.
2019, yes, but
you know what I mean? It's not a
minister's home. That's the difference.
Sure.
It's not a
You're
minister's
right.
home.
You're right.
However, their faith is on the show. Like,
right.
It's unapologetically this family. I think that's the best way to put it. It might not, like, you and I like it, but maybe somebody else wouldn't like it. It's not their cup of tea. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know though. I mean, because as I know what you're saying about it, like they are unapologetically themselves and they are unapologetically Catholic and they have their beliefs and whatever.
It has all of that.
Absolutely. But it's also not in that way where the show is all about that. I think where Seventh Heaven falters or faltered or whatever is like
It's pushing
the
an
show
agenda.
was about that.
Yeah.
It was about the religious aspect of not having sex before marriage,
Yeah.
not drinking, not doing drugs, all that stuff.
The difference was, like you said, they're trying to push it.
Yes.
While Jane the Virgin was,
It's just like,
I'm already,
this is my life.
This is it. I'm going
Right.
to add things to it,
Right.
but this is part of my life.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. In 2015, television is doing that.
Yeah.
In 2019, television knows how to tell a story that's not contrived. It feels
Exactly.
organic. It's captivating in that
Yeah.
way. 1997 television?
Yeah.
No, thank you. I'm not interested. Mm-hmm. It's a different time, you know?
Damn. Isn't that crazy
Yeah.
to say that about TV?
It is crazy. I mean, and it's only been 20 years or 10 years or
Yeah.
no, 20 years since the show started, which is a long time, but it's
Yeah.
also not that long, like in the scheme of things, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? For there to have been such a cultural shift in just 20 years and cultural in the TV landscape, not even culturally, you know what I mean? Like that's it, you know, it's interesting. I don't know. Which brings us to something that I found very fun and interesting. So on May 8th, 2006, so
Okay.
as of this recording, exactly 13 years ago,
Oh.
it was the season 10 finale, which at the time
Yeah.
was the series finale.
Yeah.
So the New York Times ran an article, which, listen, I don't know that it necessarily holds up because like 2 weeks later they were wrong about how this is the end or whatever.
Yeah.
But the sentiments, I think, are still quite valuable, if you will.
I'm curious now.
So the title of it is In Seventh Heaven, They're Still Allergic to Love Potion number 9.
Oh, Jesus.
During its decade-long effort to penetrate the adolescent consciousness, Seventh Heaven, WB's highest-rated series, has featured message narratives about the evils of smoking and teenage pregnancy. Guest appearances by Phyllis Diller, Wayne Newton, and Bo Derek, references to Iraq, to poverty, and to genocide in Sudan, an all-musical episode, a performance by the Olympic skater Tara Lipinski playing a prostitute, and a story about a mentally handicapped boy who wants to run off with a troupe of itinerant puppeteers.
Oh, man.
At the same time that it has remained the most atavistically loopy show in the history of modern television, Seventh Heaven, which ends its run tonight, which it didn't, demonstrated a strange prescience about shifting agendas in American life. Arriving in 96 during a glory period in the Clinton presidency, 2 years before the Monica Lewinsky scandal, the show foresaw sex hysteria as the force animating our national psyche. The drama has revolved around the Camdens, a conservative California family headed by Eric, a minister of unspecified Christian faith, his stay-at-home wife, Annie, and their 5 children. Outside the doors of their sprawling colonial house, terrible things befall young people whose appetites are indulged long before their wedding cakes are purchased. Sex before marriage typically results in pregnancy. Pregnancy experienced with a cad who cannot bother to return phone calls, or perhaps with a drug addict who may not be able to read. Rates of teenage pregnancy began a decline in the 90s, but not, apparently, in the affluent fictional community of Glen Oak.
My God.
By the show's moral logic, there is really nothing worse than premarital sex, certainly not manslaughter. This revelation came when one of the Camden boys accidentally ran over and killed someone with his car.
Jesus.
That incident was quickly dispensed with, but then came the shocking consequence, the boy's desire to then become physically intimate with his girlfriend. The boy, Simon, appeared in the show's pilot as an 8 or 9-year-old pining for a dog. The dog he got, as it turned out, was about to give birth to a litter of puppies. That the dog, presumably unmarried, is named Happy and not crushed, devastated, or destined for a life of squandered opportunity seems, in retrospect, a disingenuous fluke.
Shit, that's so good.
But so much about Seventh Heaven has been disingenuous. As distasteful as the series might seem to liberal sensibilities, it is arguably more offensive still to conservative ones because of the sleaziness with which it puts across the Christian values to which it half-heartedly aspires. A product of spelling television, Seventh Heaven lives midway between the world of public service announcements and the goofily sexualized territory of that company's earlier series, Melrose Place.
Oh, shit.
Which you have brought up so many times.
Yes.
It revels in the illicit behavior it condemns and takes pleasure in its own creepy innuendos. One of the flashbacks in tonight's finale takes us back to Matt and Mary Camden as teenage brother and sister in their driveway, with Mary asking Matt to teach her how to kiss a boy because she really doesn't know how, and she just can't find another boy to practice with who is tall enough. The unsettling incest vibe did not start or stop there. Shopping for baby clothes with his other sister Lucy in another episode, Matt is mistaken, for her husband over and over.
Yeah.
When Lucy's actual husband Kevin arrives because she has gone into labor, Matt and Kevin fight over which one of them has greater claim to delivering the baby in a stalled elevator.
Here I'm thinking who has claim to like Lucy's vagina.
Well, essentially that.
That too. Anyways, go on.
Seventh Heaven is the kind of show in which a baby born in a department store elevator will emerge moments later with no bloody signs of the ravages of birth, looking fresh as an Easter bunny in a pink hat and union suit.
You forgot the 2 teddy bears.
She will also appear to be at least 8 months old. We literally made that same observation. I love it.
Flat tummy and everything, bro.
That's right. Implausible scenarios have served as one of the show's few forces of consistency. Though Jessica Biel, who plays Mary, left the show a number of seasons ago, she continues to maintain her character status. Her absences from family holidays and crises excused because she is busy, wayward, or in New York. Mary has always been treated as a bad seed, her failings regarded as the equivalent of running off to take over the Afghan heroin trade. She has thought about divorce. Like so many characters on the show, she married before she was finished with college. Mary appears for a few minutes tonight, phoning in greetings from somewhere else and saying how sorry she is to have to miss her brother Simon's wedding. It seems as though neither Mary nor Matt has talked to the parents in a very long time. They both have had about a year's worth of news. We are meant to believe that the Camdens are a close-knit group who does not express their closeness with the aid of air travel, phone conversations, email, letters, or any other form of communication in the modern world. That seems a value to which no family ascribes.
Now it all makes sense why Annie went to New York for so many weeks and why she's
she needed
missing.
to be there because otherwise she's never going to talk to Mary again.
They read this review and they said, okay, we got to fix one thing here. Fuck.
This article really like nailed it, I feel like.
I think we should get it framed for the both of us.
Right? It's so clutch. Like so many of the observations that you and I have made over the last 3 years, like clearly we weren't alone.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, we should contact him and be like, excuse me.
I know. It's crazy. I love it. I love so much about this.
Yeah. So good.
The greatest. So one of the things that we wanted to do, because this is our last hurrah, is, over the course of 3 years, clearly, like, some funny shit has happened.
Yeah. Every now and then.
Like, on mic, which hasn't made it on the air, but has certainly, like, made us laugh. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to share that stuff with you guys. I think I'll just, like, play them, like, one at a time as opposed to, like, in a continuous stream.
Okay.
So this is from an episode in which we had to cut unexpectedly because I had to, like, blow my nose, not to be gross, but it was necessary. So I had to, like, put the mic down and run and get a tissue. And I left the table and T just, well, we'll see.
La 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 la. La 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 la. I can get it all out. Nah. Don't be sorry.
Do you remember doing any of that?
I remember it, but I did.
I'll know how to find
I did kind of. It's so long.
Oh, aside to somebody. You're gonna
Yeah.
Okay. So then, ever the professional me.
It's the best. I'm like doing like, yeah, come on in. Yeah. Let's start it. Oh man. Oh, that's good. Okay.
And then do you remember when we were doing a mic test once before we started recording?
Oh.
Mic test 1.
Mic test 2.
What did I do? I'm pretty sure that was in response to because my mouse wasn't reacting to the stop button properly.
What did I do?
Of course, there was the time that we completely unpreparedly made this beautiful moment happen.
Prove it. Yeah, man, that shit was hilarious.
That
It's like
was
just a
awesome.
boom.
I wish I could remember the context for that. Like, I don't know what we were talking about.
For sure, we're talking about a guy like just showing like his devotion,
Probably,
and we're just like,
probably.
prove it. Like,
Probably. Maybe Umberto with Rose. That feels right.
maybe.
Or like Matt with Shauna or something, probably.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see all that. Yeah.
And then this was actually a recent one from our opening. So in season 11, again, we're peeling back the curtain today, so I don't care. In season 11, as I'm sure you guys noticed, we did a new kind of intro. We forewent the spoilies. We stopped doing that. And instead of launching into each episode with just welcome to I was starting to include the number and title of the episode before pitching it to T.
Still had a hard time adjusting to it, guys.
Yeah, and so in episode 1103, because it was still like new, it didn't quite go as planned. Hello and welcome to For Heaven's Sake, a Seventh Heaven podcast. This is episode 1103, and we are your co-hosts, Lady J
and T.
How are you, T?
Cold. Very cold.
I'm good. Yeah.
You toasty?
I'm a little toasty. I want to take that again because I didn't even ask how I am, and I'm good.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to For Heaven's Sake, a Seventh Heaven podcast. This is episode 1103, titled "A Pain in the Neck," and we are your co-hosts, Lady J and T. Oh fuck!
This is going into the
bloopers.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's so good. I like it. I wish someone could have recorded you though.
Oh, like the podcast?
No, you know what I mean. Camera.
Physically.
Yeah.
Because I was all proud of myself. Barf Simpson.
Dude.
That was quite fun. I remember that moment vividly. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
And I remember like being all ready to do it again and like but then I just went for I introduced you for you. Like it was
I remember thinking like, oh, so I have nothing to say. Like it was so funny.
It was crazy.
And like seeing you, like you're saying it, like you're all cool,
so
like
confident.
Yeah, all confident. And then once you say like, fuck, you're like, oh, I wasn't supposed to do it. So good.
Oh my gosh. So, and then finally, because like I said, we're a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Not very many outtakes in this guy. But finally, we were talking about an episode. I don't remember the exact episode, but I do know that it was an episode in which there was like a reveal. But in Seventh Heaven fashion, it wasn't a reveal for the audience. It was a reveal for one of the characters in the story.
Yeah.
But like the audience already knows what's happening. And so I was trying to explain that on air. And I might have gone for a questionable metaphor. I also it's classic Seventh Heaven that like they can't even keep their cum in their like penis for this long to like that was such a clunky way of saying that. Like I'm gonna cut that out and start over. I don't know what I was going for. I think think I was thinking of like edging or something, or some version of that.
But like my mind went, wait, where do we go?
Like, listen, leave it to old Lady J to just take it there unexpectedly for no reason, because that's always where my head is at. But like, that was just particularly egregious to where I couldn't keep it. I was like, this is just stupid. Like, I need to find a better way to explain what I'm trying to say, because that's not it.
So good. Oh, good times, good times.
We've had some really good time. Grit times? Some really grit times. Over
really
the
grit
years.
times.
Over the years.
Bad.
Oh my gosh. We really have. Now see, if we were going on, that would have been a blooper I would have saved.
Yeah. Too bad, so sad it's in here.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, no, we really have. I mean, if this has our doing our recordings has been nothing but like fun.
Yeah.
Even when we've had to like do like 3 episodes in a night,
Yeah.
plus a movie for the Patreon or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, even when we're like exhausted and it's awful, and we're killing ourselves doing it, it's still been fun.
Yeah,
like,
it's true.
It hasn't been begrudging. It's just
Yeah.
like, it's hard and it's tiring,
Yeah.
but we do it.
Yeah,
And
life is real. Let's be honest.
yeah. Yeah, but I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like even in those days or those times, like it's been like weirdly satisfying.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like an accomplishment, you know,
True.
to get that done and like get it all in because we got to, you know.
You and I both experienced this once we finished watching season 11, episode 22. The moment you finished it, the moment you close that notebook or you close that screen, whatever, you and I both just went on our own.
Yep.
And we actually had the same experience.
Yep. We really did.
You just felt like something ended. Not in a bad way, but it's like truly you felt like, all right.
For me, I think the best way I can describe it is it simultaneously felt like a weight had been lifted and also like this like extremely heavy moment. Like,
Yeah.
like it felt heavy in that way of like, oh wow, like this is significant. Like, it's over. Like, I'm never going to watch another episode of Seventh Heaven
Yeah.
again.
All of that
You
hit
know?
me because I was like, okay, so all of those, I'm not going to watch Seventh Heaven. You're thinking about how many hours or whatever you put into it. Like all of this just went into like that closing it down.
Culmination. Yeah. It was like I don't even know that. I mean, that's the best way I can describe it. It was like breath, like deep breath, and also like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know?
And whatever it leads to is whatever it leads to. But like, it was so much fun. Fucking A, the show's ridiculous.
It really is.
I don't know how it lasted.
It is ridiculous. I mean, the fact that it was the highest rated show on the
Yeah.
network at the end of season 10, like, is just mind-boggling.
I mean,
to
it's
me.
because they love Simon, right? What else is there?
I suppose so, but arguably season 10 was just as much of a turd as season 11. I mean, the entire
Because it's all
time-
about Simon and
Yeah,
Rose.
The entire time is spent, will they or won't they, with him and Rose. And
Yeah.
it's like, that's not compelling. 5 beats of that and I'm bored. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, let alone 20 episodes of it.
True. And
So-
it was a lot of episodes of her just being annoying
A
and
bitch.
frustrating. Yeah. And then finally, out of nowhere, one talk that Annie and her have. I might even love her, but I know that she's not going to end up with Simon. What now?
So dumb. So dumb.
And that Oreo.
Oh, God.
All the
How can we
Oreos.
forget the Oreo product placement?
Do you not have Oreos right now? What's wrong with you?
Oh, you want some?
No.
I do have Oreos. I still have the leftover Oreos from our last recap.
Jesus, man. It's a lot of Oreos.
It is a lot of Oreos. At least I'm not eating them. Hey.
Well, no, I mean, the amount that they advertise and they had to eat and the screenshot that you'd see of their teeth.
I was going to say, you think they ate them, but I'm like, of course they ate them. It was ASMR City, them
Yeah.
eating those things and talking and ugh.
And
Ugh, God, yeah.
sorry, I know that annoys you guys because it annoys me.
Well, speaking of like sound bites, right? We obviously have a bunch from the time, from the time.
The show has some pretty good sound bites, let's be real.
Yeah.
It does.
So here's a couple that are really like, you know, like we remember them.
Okay.
Oh, Robbie, old boy, wait up.
Robbie, boy.
Would you look at this?
That was Eric, right? Talking about the twins or Ruthie or something. Would you like this?
Yeah, what was this one from? Oh, well.
Look at these arms.
Is that Ruthie?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's baby Ruthie.
oh, she's totally freaking cute.
Or
I did it. I'm a graduate.
when Lucy graduated from college in her backyard.
Oh yeah, she was carried. Oh my god, I'm a graduate.
Or
A little nauseous.
also a Lucy classic.
Yeah.
Like the environment? Hello?
Oh,
Hello.
hello.
Yeah, but not more important than you, man.
Well, who is Matt talking to?
I think he's talking to like Robbie or Simon or something. I think, isn't it about his wedding? Like he's trying to pick his best man or something.
Probably.
And so he picks somebody other than Simon.
Didn't he pick Robbie?
I think so.
The boy left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
It's lots of fun things over the years, you know?
Well, you know, nothing beats when Eric starts to pull on some Scottish accent.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, when that shit happened.
That was really funny.
And then, of course, he ended up wearing a kilt in, you know.
That was the... Oh, no, that was the one before the Heaven episode. Because
Yeah.
he ended up in heaven in a kilt.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That might have been one of my higher rated episodes, the one before the Heaven episode.
Oh, when he's
right?
giving everybody, like, tough love?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that one. You know what? Let's get into that, shall we? So one of our best friends, because he's a best friend now, because he did this
Yeah.
for us. One of our listeners, Ben, who is a god among men as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. He took the time to put all of our ratings in a spreadsheet
Yep.
for us.
What a nice
All
guy.
of the ratings over the last 3 years. So I'm gonna pull that up right now because I want to talk about some of them because it's pretty funny.
Oh, no. God. I'm just actually kind of curious, like, how bad or...
So do you want to talk overall or do you want to go season by season? Let's go season by season.
Yeah.
Okay, so in season 1, and mind you, this is back when we were doing the 1 to 10
Yeah.
scale, right? So over the course of the years, it'll change. But so season 1, I averaged a 6.2
Oh, shit.
and you averaged a 5.3
Okay.
for a total of 5.7.
Okay.
Across the board. Now, my highest rated episode was a 9 on episode 116. And your highest rated episode, do you want to guess what it was?
No.
It was an 8. Well, you had 2 8s.
Okay.
One for 103 and one for 105.
Oh, interesting.
And that's as high as you went on season 1.
Wow. In the beginning.
In the beginning. Yes. I gave one episode a 9. You gave 2 episodes an 8.
Okay.
Season 2. I averaged a 6.7. You averaged a consistent 5.3.
Jesus, I really hated the show.
And actually, you're going to laugh. So you're 5.3 and then total average of 6. I gave a 10 to episode 211.
Okay.
And you gave a 9 to episode 209. That was your highest rated one.
I should write this shit down and I'm curious, like, why did I give it such a high rating?
Well, you have
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Season 3, my average was 6.1. Your average was 5.3.
It's consistent, guys.
At least you know you're rating against yourself pretty consistently, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. I mean, as was I, apparently, ish. So once again, I gave episode 314 a 10.
Okay.
And you gave, let's see, which episode was your highest? You gave an 8 to that same episode. That was your highest as well. And if I'm not mistaken, 314 is the episode that the twins are born. And it's all about like the ode to women.
Yeah.
Where Lucy breaks up with Jordan.
Yeah.
And it's Valentine's Day and it's a whole thing.
All makes sense.
Yeah, I do remember really liking that episode.
Okay.
So I think that's the one. Season 4, my average dips. I go down to a 5.8.
Damn.
Which only means that yours dips as well to a 5. For the total average being 5.3. Across the board, so episode 3, you didn't rate it.
Sorry.
Probably because I went first and then we just completely forgot about your rating, which has happened before. That episode I happened to give a 9.5, which is my highest rating of the season.
Wow.
And for season 4, your highest rating was, you gave 2 episodes a 7, 12 and 15.
2 episodes of 7?
7 was as high as you went in season 4. Wow. And now if we remember, season 4 was right around when Mary started being wonky and terrible things were happening. So I'm not shocked that we didn't like that episode very much. Season 5, I averaged a 5.6. You averaged a 4.9. For a total average of 5.2. I gave 506 a 10, and you gave 514 an 8. And that's as high as you went in that season.
I'm an asshole.
No, you're not. You were just way more critical than I ever was. Okay, so season 6 is when things get crazy because 8 episodes into the season, we changed the rating scale.
Oh, yeah. We did thumb up, thumb down, huh? Okay.
Yeah, which we should have been better about that. We should have at least done it for a full season or something.
Yeah.
But we just decided to randomly in the middle of season 6. So in the first half of season 6,
Poor guy. He was like, what do I do now?
I averaged a 5.9 and you averaged a 5.5 for a total of 5.7 in the first half. My highest rated episode was an 8 on episode 607, and your highest was you gave a bunch of episodes a 7. 601, 602, and 607 were your 7s.
Interesting.
Now, when we started going to the thumb rating, the thumbs up, thumbs down rating, I averaged a 4.3, and which we should clarify. So for those, Ben's rating is essentially 0 for 2 thumbs down, 1 for thumb up, thumb down, and a 2 for 2 thumbs up. So that's how that works. So I averaged a 4.3 on that one. You averaged a 2.9 on that one.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
We both gave 2 thumbs up to 613, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the 200th episode.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. That doesn't make sense though, does it? Maybe it does. I think it actually does make sense. I think it is that's the 200th episode. So I'm not surprised we both gave it a 2 thumbs up.
Okay.
We also gave 2 thumbs ups to 615. And then everything else is just lots of 2 thumbs downs or 1 thumb ups or whatever. Okay. Season 7, I averaged a 5.2. You averaged a 3.4.
Okay.
Let's see. You didn't. Oh no, yes, you did. You gave 2 thumbs ups on everything from 18 to 22. As did I. We really liked season 7.
Why though?
I don't know. I don't remember that season. It's all a blur, man.
I know.
It all just blends together.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't tell you what happens in that season.
We'll watch it again.
Yeah. Season 8, I averaged a 4.1, so I dipped there. You averaged another 3.4. You really are very consistent. I appreciate that about you.
Interesting.
Season 8, episode 5, neither of us rated it. I guess we just forgot. We both gave 2 thumbs ups to 804 and 810 and 17 and 18. And then I gave 2 thumbs up to 820. You only gave it 1 thumb up on that one.
Okay.
And then on season 9, there was a couple of episodes in there that we technically didn't rate, but Ben went ahead and assumed it was 2 thumbs down from our conversation. So that's fair.
Nice guy.
So on this one, I averaged a 4.5. You averaged a 3.9. We both gave 2 thumbs ups to 901 and 902.
Okay.
Which was that 2-parter, I think, coming off of Simon hitting that kid, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, yeah, probably.
I think so.
Yeah.
And then I gave 2 thumbs ups to 11 and 12. You gave 1 to 12 as well, or 2 to 12 as well. And we both really liked the last 2 episodes of season 9 as well,
Interesting. Okay.
which again, don't remember. Oh, yes, I do though. Those were the ones that's when we first met Rose at the end of season 9.
Okay.
It was like Simon was going all crazy and doing all kinds of shit.
Yeah, who's this bitch?
Season 10, I averaged a 6.6. I apparently loved season 10. And you averaged a 5.9. So you liked it too.
Interesting.
We did a lot of 2 thumbs ups on this one. It's hard to even tell, but we were also like evenly matched on a lot of them. There aren't very many where I did something different than you did, with a couple of exceptions. There's one where I gave 2 thumbs up and you gave 2 thumbs down.
Yeah.
1009.
Interesting. Okay.
And then finally, season 11, back to our old tricks. I averaged a 4.9. You averaged a 3.3. I gave some 2 thumbs up. We both gave some 2 thumbs ups early in the season. And then right in the middle of the season at 11:11, which I believe was the Christmas Heaven episode.
Yeah.
And then I gave 2 thumbs ups at the end, and you gave no thumbs at the end. And of course, the last episode, everybody knows at this point, we didn't rate that one.
Yeah. No thumbs given.
No thumbs. So, and overall, our highest rated season, shocking no one, is in fact season 10. And season 2 is a close second.
Interesting.
So season 10 was 6.6. Season 2 is a 6. Everything else after that is like in the 5s, 4s. Our lowest rated season is 8 at a 3.8.
Interesting.
And then 11, and then 9, and then the rest is, pretty okay or whatever, or right in the middle there.
Interesting. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Ben, for doing that for us.
It's a lot of
work. I mean, he had to listen and do it and track it and all that business, and we're grateful.
Yeah, I don't know how you
awesome.
did it. Yeah, thank you.
And since we're on this thank you train, I thought it would be fun to look at, because we get the stats on like our listeners and where they are in the world and all that stuff. And I think it's really interesting, like to see like where our listeners like are coming from, or the listens, where they're coming from. Obviously, the United States is the most.
Yeah.
Followed by Canada. And Australia, and Sweden, and Spain, and the United Kingdom. But then we've also got France, Denmark, South Korea, Japan, Italy, Mexico, the Netherlands, Norway, India, Russia, Germany, New Zealand, Kenya, Ireland, the Philippines, South Africa, Belgium, Brazil, United Arab Emirates, Argentina, Czech Republic, Lithuania, Qatar. Hold on, I lost it.
You like us. You really like us.
You really like us. Qatar, Thailand, Vietnam, Austria, Switzerland, Ethiopia, Zimbabwe, Sudan.
Wow.
Bulgaria, China, Costa Rica, a country called Guernsey, which I've never heard of. So shout out to the one person in Guernsey who listened to us. Guatemala, Hungary, Jersey, St. Lucia, Latvia, Peru, Portugal, Paraguay, Saudi Arabia, Slovakia, Suriname, Tanzania, and the Ukraine.
Wow. Thank you.
Seriously, though.
Really? Hello, world, and thank you.
What the hell? It's really shocking. Like, to be faced with that statistic of like, there's people in Qatar listening to this. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
Like,
Seventh Heaven?
God bless you, honestly. How did you even find it?
Why did you even like the show?
I don't know, man.
Well, no, I'm not going to say that.
No.
Bullshit.
Love
I've
the
been
show.
here.
It's fine.
I'm watching it, but like, This is interesting.
It's also like deeply humbling.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, like we have a truly global audience, you know, like it's awesome. It's truly awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you all. And of course, you know, we'd be remiss if we didn't thank some of the key players in all of this over the years. Candy Girl, we want to thank you for taking the pictures of all those DVDs.
Yeah.
And sending us like the synopsises from the DVDs with the titles and all that stuff. That stuff really came in handy sometimes when IMDb was all over the place and Amazon was all over the place. We could always look at those DVDs to know exactly what we were dealing with on any given episode. So huge thank you for that. To Bruce and Cheryl and Tennessee, thank you for being there. You know, you guys are our most vocal listeners, and we're so appreciative of everything that you guys have said and reaching out to us and all that. It's been truly a pleasure.
Yeah.
That being said, I do want to read an email from Tennessee.
Oh.
He wrote to us and he said, I think you two did it. The best way to explain this season is Eric and Lucy's storyline. Then there's everything else, aka the fake drama. If it felt like they threw anything on the wall to see if it would stick, I understand that they got caught off guard with the extra episodes order at the last minute. But how long has Brenda and the crew been in the television game? And is that what you come up with? My God, I enjoyed Eric's storyline on whether he'll live or die and its effect on all those around him. Everyone confessing their faith and worries about Eric's health was compelling. Then there's Lucy dealing with the loss of her twins and figuring out the next move in her life. Now for the other stuff. I'm semi-meh about the replacements because their presence wasn't really needed. But I like T-Bone. They made me feel for him. I really hated what they did to Ruthie and Martin. They changed their characters and it was all for nothing. It frustrated me to no end how they made her so selfish and uppity because she is my favorite Camden. This should have been the season of her getting ready to be an adult and figuring out what she wanted to do with her life. Could have been a good time to bring back the idea of her being a shrink that was hinted at in 902. She's not that into religion like Lucy, but she has this need to help people. When you have people for a certain amount of time, it's best to maximize them all you can, and this was not the case. My poor shipping heart and yours. I feel like I was punched in the gut on how Ruthie and Martin ended. I have no problems with Ruthie and T-Bone, but it was teased since Martin came to the show dropping breadcrumb after breadcrumb, and for it to end like this, I felt sick. In a perfect world, this would have been good drama for this season, and they would have been endgame. Someone made a Tumblr for them, by the way, and he sent us the link if we want to check it out.
Nice.
I haven't looked at it yet. We'll look at it off mic. A big thank you for making my Mondays and Thursdays when I'm at work or home even better. Now for the $1 million question. How did you rate Avengers Endgame?
Nice.
Now, you haven't seen it yet.
No, but how do you rate it?
I'll caveat it by saying I enjoyed it as much as I enjoy all the MCU movies, which is to say I go in, I enjoy the 2.5 hours I'm there watching it, and then when it's over, I'm fine. Like, it doesn't stay with me. It didn't change my life. Like, it's just a good movie, and it was fine. And did I cry? Yes. If everybody wants to know, I definitely cried. We also got an email from Bruce I want to read. Okay. Attitudes were he was okay, so he was talking about when we were talking about the twins being alone for the first time ever in their lives at age 7. And Bruce was just relating to us how he remembers being a youngster in New York and just like running around with his friends and stuff, taking the subway from Brooklyn to New York to Flushing, Queens, which entailed switching from one train to a second one to go together with just one of my friends. And then they went to the World's Fair back then, which was like obviously a huge deal. And they were all of 13 back then in the 60s. And that wasn't the only time I remember traveling around the big city back then either. Yeah. Hang around long enough. And there's so many types of changes we see. Absolutely, Bruce. And then finally, I do want to read a last email from our good friend Cheryl. She you know, she had some problems with the finale, most of which we already shared, and we don't need to rehash. But I'll read this, her closing sentiment. I don't know what they were going for here exactly, but whatever it was, I don't think they achieved it. All I can think is that we just finished watching 11 seasons of backstory leading up to Eric heading up some kind of traveling cult. And damn it, I actually might want to see that traveling cult show, but I get the feeling that the writers didn't know that they were writing it.
Yeah.
Guys, we can't thank you enough for your years of support, for being a voice in what can sometimes feel like a vacuum when you're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
You know, because we sit here, we record it, we put it out into the universe. We don't know who's listening. We don't know if anyone's downloading it or if they care. Clearly, people are downloading it all over the world, but it's nice to hear from people and know that they're listening and that it matters in some small way.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Very cool. So Bruce, Tennessee, and Cheryl, we thank you. I also do want to give a shout out to the other patrons we have on Patreon, Elizabeth and Anna, and of course our good friend Audek. He was our stalwart. He was our faithful season recap companion for 10 seasons, 3 years nearly.
Yeah.
Maybe like 2.5 for him, really.
Yeah.
And you know, we couldn't have done it without him. That was really born out of when we started this podcast. He was one of our earliest like vocal supporters of it, as being one of our friends, obviously. And I felt it was important to have an additional voice represented for the show and on our show.
Yeah.
So that's how the idea of the recaps was born in the first place, just so that there would be a platform to have somebody on that wasn't us to talk about the show with, you know what I mean? And I feel like he was a great addition to it every season. Yeah, we couldn't have done it without him. So thank you, Audek. Also, thank you to Anna and to Michael for helping get this thing started.
Yeah.
You know, when I decided to do a podcast, before I even talked to T about it, it was like, okay, how does one begin a podcast? Like, how does one do that? And Googling and asking and picking the brains of those that are more knowledgeable and way more advanced in technology and things like that than I am. We couldn't have done this if it wasn't for the help of Anna making our logo for us.
Yeah.
Or Michael for doing all the Photoshop jobs he did for us.
Fucking epic.
If you want to know, our header photo on Facebook, and it's also on our Instagram. It's like way down at the bottom of the feed now, but our header photo is us photoshopped in with the family. We're in there. That's all Michael. And then he also photoshopped us into a picture with the girls, right? With Jessica Biel, Beverly Mitchell, and Mackenzie Rosman.
And us standing in the back as if we're all part of the gang.
Yep. The gang's all here.
Yeah.
So we really couldn't have done that without Michael and Anna. So thank you both so much.
Thank you.
For your support and for doing that for us, and with like no questions asked. Like we had this crazy idea to do that, and they were like, "Sure."
Amen. You helped us color all that shit in. Thank you.
That's right. And that was also a really fun experience, just doing that photo shoot and like standing there and like not knowing what it's gonna be.
Yeah, like he's snapping photos and you don't know what's happening. You're like, wait, and you're just like, I'm just testing it. Just stay there. Okay, cool.
You feel like a model. Like
very
you
quick
feel like
second.
you're on a set. You know?
Okay, now raise your hands. Why?
It was cool. And then of course we'd be remiss if we didn't also shout out our two guests that we had on the show back in our early days. On episode 111, of course, we had the lovely S, special guest with us. That was right at the cusp too. Like right after that episode is when we got better mics and it sounded much better.
And at that point we were still calling Simon our spirit animal. At that point, like that's when it was really born.
Right. I mean, this was episode 11 ever, like of season 1. Like it was fresh and new, and I feel like we were still kind of like jibing on it. You know what I mean?
For
like,
sure.
It was like fun and interesting and different in that way that a social experiment is, you know, before it becomes old hat. And then of course our guest Lucine on the finale episode of season 1 on 122.
Yeah.
Which I actually think we did 121 and 122 combined. So that was the one that she was a guest on. And that was really fun because that was like a momentous occasion. It's like we finished a season, you know?
We finished a season.
Yeah, and we had a guest on, which was really fun. And so S and Lucina, thank you both for coming on the show, for putting your faith in this little engine that could back when we didn't know what we were doing or if we'd keep doing it.
Seriously.
Cut to 3 years later. It's been
one day something like that. Okay, I'm done.
I don't know. I don't want to like beat a dead horse, you know?
Dude, it was
feels weird.
good times. I was shooting the shit with my friend, and we had some awesome friends and family members that were willing to help us out.
That's right.
So we're just a lucky bunch of ladies.
We really are. Couple of lucky ladies over here.
Yeah. So we know when we got it good, and we
That's
got it
right.
good.
So I guess before we like go,
Go.
before we go into that good night, I don't know. Do you have any like parting thoughts about the show that you want to say?
This show would have been fun if it wasn't. This show would have been. It could have been like a Parenthood if it wasn't Brenda Hampton. Because if you think about it, the kind of family that they are, they take in, for lack of a better word, strays. They're good foster parents. They really are. This could have been a fun show for that. Like they could have.
Yeah, it could have
Family
been the
drama
revolving
and
door
that.
of foster kids.
Do you know what I mean? Like it can
Yeah.
be. It could have been so many things. Whatever though, it's not. It's Seventh Heaven. It's cheesy. I hope I never have to watch it again.
Yeah.
You know, but now if I watch it, I think it's to be like, oh yeah, I remember that one time just to laugh. Like I think that's how it's going to work out now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Bernie the attorney.
Yeah. That's me, Bernie the attorney.
Best.
I think you said it perfectly. I don't know what this show is or isn't. I don't know that it's necessarily this like historical thing that needs to be remembered for the rest of time or anything like that.
If it does that, that's going to be pretty awesome in the sense of why?
Well, because see, that's the thing is like, because it lasted for so long, for
Yeah.
better or for worse, it was a cultural phenomenon. You know what I mean? Like, even if you never watched a single episode of that
Yeah.
show, you knew it existed.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
know? So I think in that way, like, I think it's pretty cool that we've put our stamp on the history of it
Yeah.
in some small way. You know, like we threw our hat in the ring with this cultural phenomenon from 20 years ago. And for better or for worse, like, just like the show is whatever, like we're here too. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Which that's pretty cool in the big picture, I suppose.
Yes.
You know. So I think that's gonna do it for us.
Oh,
I do want to say before we part, what am I singing a song? Before we part.
So long, farewell, okay.
I do want to say, because this is my last chance, don't forget to subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah.
That Patreon is going to go on. That's not ending for the foreseeable future. Patreon.com/4 Heaven's Sake Pod. There's tons of content up there already.
Yep.
That you can sign up now and get. And then you get 2 bonus episodes a month going forward of commentary, like live commentary as we watch the movie on movies that T has seen that I have not, with one exception.
Oh, yes.
For my birthday this year, we did Frozen because barf.
Let it go. Let it go.
I needed a soapbox with which to express my rage for that movie. So it's up there for you all. Additionally, because people on this feed won't be hearing my voice anymore, if you do want to keep hearing my voice, if you're so inclined, I do have another podcast all about the show Schitt's Creek, which if you're not watching it, get on it because it's great.
You all want to be shitheads, let me tell you.
You do. You really want to be a shithead. If not for our podcast, for the show anyway.
Yeah.
But that show is called Up Schitt's Creek, the podcast. It's available anywhere you get your podcasts. It's available on whatever platform you're listening to this right now.
Yeah.
So you can find that. That's Up Schitt's Creek, the podcast. We've got the social medias, all that stuff. But take a listen to that. And if you like Schitt's Creek, then I think you'll like the podcast as well. So, anything that you want to plug before we go?
Maybe I'll catch you on another side. I don't know.
All right.
I'll catch you guys somewhere. Maybe one day. I don't know. Anything's possible.
I love it. Well, not until next time.
I know.
Until never for now. For the last time. Bye.